over here.
What can I say about Ray Bradbury? We were friends for over 60 years. Now, how many of you have 60-year-old friends? Well, he's older than 60. He was 91 when he kicked off, the poor guy. You know, I loved Ray. I remember one of the last times I saw him, he was in a hospital bed. He couldn't even get in the wheelchair anymore. And he said, "Come here, come here." His voice was going, and he says, "Come over here." So I came over, and he grabbed my hand, and he said, "Thank you for being in my life." Well, I burst into tears. I mean, that's an emotional thing. And I said something really dumb, because what can you say? I said, "Thank you for having me." And I think he forgave me that. But anyway, it all started when I was a very dumb kid in Kansas City, Missouri, my home city. And I was reading weird tales every month because I was weird myself, and a weird boy reading weird tales that fit together. So I read the story The Jar by somebody named Ray Bradbury, and it was about 10 times better than anything else in the magazine. And I thought, who is this guy? Anyway, I was 16 years old. It says, who is this Ray Bradbury? I mean, I'm going to have to start looking for his stuff. So flash forward to 1950, The Martian Chronicles comes out. I mean, I moved to the area where Ray is living near Venice, and I said, I think I'm just going to go over there and see if I can talk to him, see if I can meet him. So I go over there, and here's this woman wheeling a baby out in front of the place, and it's Susan, that's being his first daughter, and his wife Marguerite is wheeling Susan around. I said, "Is there a Ray Bradbury around here?" And she said, "Oh, yeah, Ray's back in the garage writing one of these crazy stories." and sure enough, I go down the driveway, and here's this little studio kind of pinched into one edge of the garage, a table and a typewriter, and Ray's in there pounding away. And I say, hi, Mr. Bradbury, I just want to meet you. Well, he immediately stopped writing, as he was so generous about that kind of thing. If you interrupted him, he would never say, "How dare you interrupt me? I'm in creativity mode." He would never say anything like that. A lot of writers do. They don't want to be interrupted. They don't want any phone calls. They don't want anything. Ray stopped everything, shook my hand, and we had our first talk. And he said, "You know, The Martian Chronicles is not science fiction." Now that threw me, because it had just come out about 3 months ago. He said, I tried to make them take the label science fiction off the book, because it's a fable. It's a fantasy fable about Mars. It has nothing to do with reality. I have the moons coming up on the wrong side, and who gives a damn anyway? So he says, so people, I'm not a science fiction writer. He always used to say that. His book said, "The world's greatest science fiction writer," and that pissed him off, because he said, "I am not the world's greatest. I'm not even one of them." He said, "Arthur C. Clarke, Isaac Asimov, these are science fiction writers." So he said, "I write fables, I write moral fables, and that's what I love to do." And he said, "When I die, I want a Campbell's soup can," because he drank soup for years. He lived on soup and crackers when he was young. He was broke. He said, "I want a Campbell's soup can. I want my ashes poured into the Campbell's soup can. And then I want him to take it up to Mars. I want to put it on the edge of Bradbury Crater." They got to name one of them after me. He said, "So put it on the edge of Bradbury Crater and then pour my ashes in there." Well, I don't. He's in some Hollywood crypt now, so they didn't do that. Yeah, he never made it to Mars. But in my opinion, he's up there right now waiting for us. So anyway, there's so many stories to tell about Ray. I could be here all day, and I'm not going to. I won't bore you with that. But I will say he was a wonderful man who had his dark side. Most people don't know about Bradbury's dark side. He was Uncle Ray, and they all loved him, and he stopped. And he did, and that was part of him, certainly genuine charity, charitable with his time, charitable with his emotions. But he had this dark side, and if you crossed him, and he felt that he was being crossed, man, I mean, I've never seen anybody more stubborn or more opinionated or more, politically, we were miles apart politically. He started as a liberal, ended as a conservative, and that, I'm still a liberal, so we didn't talk politics. But anyway, he was many things, and people just, they only know one side of Ray, and I'm not putting him down, because that one side was very genuine. But he was a lot more than Uncle Ray, just like Forey Ackerman was a lot more than Uncle Forey. And this man who just ran through like a zebra here is putting together a documentary called The Ackermonster Chronicles, and that reflects the kind of person Ackerman was. And he did one on Charles Beaumont, which reflected who Beaumont was. So you've got to know somebody for a long time before you can see which is their true side and which is the dark side. But Ray was a very dear man, and I'll always miss him. and we had a lot of great adventures together. And all I've got to say is God bless him, and thank you for being here.